In the summer of 1314, the fate of Scotland hung by a thread. For years, the English crown had sought to crush Scottish resistance, sending armies north to impose its will. Castles burned, villages fell, and hope flickered in the hearts of the people. Yet from the ashes of defeat, a leader emerged, a warrior king named Robert the Bruce. He rallied a nation battered by war, forging a band of brothers willing to die for their freedom. Against the might of England, their courage would be tested on the blood-soaked fields of Bannockburn. England's King Edward II marched north at the head of one of the most formidable armies ever assembled in the British Isles. Over 20,000 men, armored knights, hardened infantry, and deadly archers, moved like an unstoppable tide, determined to break Scottish resistance once and for all. Opposing them stood a mere 6,000 Scots, outnumbered and outmatched. Yet these were not ordinary men. Each one carried the scars of battle, the memory of lost kin, and the unbreakable resolve to fight for freedom on their own soil. Robert the Bruce was no stranger to war. Once branded a traitor and hunted like an animal, he had transformed himself into the most feared fighting force of the Highlands. He understood that brute strength would not win the day. Only cunning and iron discipline could overcome the English juggernaut. His warriors trained relentlessly, mastering the deadly schiltron, a human wall of spears designed to shatter the charge of armored knights. On the eve of battle, Bruce walked among his men, his presence a living shield against despair. He spoke not of glory, but of survival, urging his soldiers to stand firm, for behind them lay their homes, their families, and the very soul of Scotland. The dawn of June 23rd broke over a land tense with anticipation. The English advanced, knights armored in gleaming steel, banners snapping in the wind. But the ground beneath their feet was treacherous, marshy, uneven, riddled with hidden pitfalls Bruce's engineers had prepared. The Scots held the high ground, their schiltrons bristling like the spines of a great beast. As the English cavalry charged, the air thundered with hooves and war cries. Yet while enemies fled in terror, these warriors stood their ground. The English knights crashed into the wall of spears, their momentum shattered, their armor no match for Scottish resolve. Amid the chaos, Robert the Bruce himself strode onto the battlefield. In a legendary clash, he was confronted by the English knight Henry de Bohun, who charged with lance leveled, seeking to end the Scottish rebellion in a single stroke. Bruce waited, calm as stone, then swerved at the last moment, rising in his stirrups to bring his battle axe down upon de Bohun's helmet. The English knight fell, lifeless, and the legend of Bruce's courage spread like wildfire through the ranks. The next day, the full fury of battle erupted. English archers unleashed a storm of arrows, but Bruce's schiltrons held firm, their discipline unbreakable. The ground became a slaughterhouse, as waves of English soldiers faltered before the Scottish spears. Panic spread through the English ranks. While the flower of English chivalry floundered in the mud, the Scots pressed forward, fierce as wolves scenting victory. What happened next shocked even hardened veterans. The mighty English army, once feared across Europe, broke and fled. The Scots pursued, driving their enemies from the field, their victory total and absolute. Bannockburn was more than a battle. It was a turning point. These warriors changed the course of history, forging a nation with their blood and their courage. The legend of Robert the Bruce and his brothers in arms endures, echoing across the centuries. But every victory comes at a cost, and the struggle for Scotland's freedom was far from over. In the shadows of their triumph, new dangers gathered, and the fate of a kingdom would hang once more upon the edge of a blade.